Training to develop the mind. Exerting to develop the mind is in fact to increase the light. The light is the lightest and mightiest sacred substance in man's body. Man's body can give birth when it is forceful and young, but when it grows old, it becomes weak and unable to reproduce. But man's mind is different. At any moment, from young to old age, it can produce thoughts. The mind is neither old nor young. It is always vivid in ascendant and descendant transmutations. It is lively, sacred, and marvelous, and miraculous. For this reason, man is called sacred living being. Sacred living being refers to the mind, not the flesh body. In sleep, the mind stops operating. Being not vivid, the mind does not evolve. Without operation, the mind does not animate. Without animation, it has no life's power. Without life's power, it is lifeless. However, if staying awake, the mind can know, be aware, and understand thoroughly, and thus persist forever. Awareness. With the 5 natural sense organs of the flesh body, the mind can be aware of everything from the inside to the outside. A. The mind can be aware of everything from the outside through the 5 natural sense organs. B. It can observe the inner animation through the flesh body. Lower living beings such as animals can also perceive and be aware like man. Understanding. Through awareness, man can understand. With this attribute, the mind can concentrate completely on the inside or both inside and outside. Drawing completely inwards, it can understand through mental images, and the memories are kept in the mind's memory. Being in this state, the mind evolves. Understanding is to recognize or identify only one part or one side of the essential cause. Although being aware of everything, some people do not understand. These are idiots. Thorough understanding, whole understanding, instant understanding. To reach this degree, the mind must first experience awareness, then understanding. Through thorough understanding requires the function of awareness and understanding to go directly into the cause. The cause is the animation of the light in the 2 functions of awareness and understanding, or the thorough understanding exists in awareness and understanding. The degree of the mind varies from low to high. Awareness, then understanding, which also includes awareness and thorough understanding. Awareness and understanding already exist in this absolute state of the mind. To understand thoroughly the cosmic cause, one's mind, supermind and super-supermind, must be permanently vivid and lively. That means the light, the life, animates endlessly. Only the brain can nourish the life and gathers the light. The flesh body is able to foster the life's powers, i.e., qi and blood only. All functions of the mind spreading throughout the flesh body in the 5 natural sense organs and the super sense organs must be gathered wholly into the brain. At this moment, all life's powers of the sacred substances are equal to the life. Now, only the life, the light, animates in the brain. The head and the flesh body cease operating completely. In other words, only the brain is alive. All functions of the mind stop. The moment the mind and the supermind stop operating, the life's powers of the mind are really the life. In other words, when the life's powers of the mind cease operating, it is the life. The mind concentrates wholly on the brain. When the natural and supernatural small worlds in the small cosmos stop, the supernatural small world appears. The observation by the mind and the supermind stays active only in the brain. Therefore, the functions of awareness and understanding mix with the life, the light. The mind and the supermind transmute ascendantly into the supermind, mixing with the original cause, the divine cause, in the light. Therefore, the supermind knows and understands instantly the cause of the cosmos. This state is called rapture, the perfect ecstasy of the physical, sentimental, intellectual, and spiritual lives. The brain spreads widely mystic power and cosmic energy, and diffuses medium and high frequencies of human electric, and finally spreads the light. The idea of the mind can conduct the refined power and chi power. The super idea of the supermind can direct human electric power, chi power, and refined power. The super idea of the supermind can conduct the light and the other three powers. The brain has the capability to pour out mystic power and cosmic energy, but if these powers and energy are not yet collected in the brain, how can the supermind and the supermind conduct them? Anyone who wants to obtain these power and energy must nourish them by changing his material life and sentimental intellectual life into the spiritual one, i.e., he must live with virtues and Tao's characters, which constitute mystic power and cosmic energy. The spiritual life forms Tao's ego. When Tao's ego animates, the individual ego constituted by social sources disappears. All troubles and distresses vanish. The confusing way of living in the society comes to be free and satisfying, because the spiritual life gets animated by the light, the life. In other words, the spiritual life operates with the source of creation, which produces all things in the cosmos. Therefore, nothing can influence it. There have been methods and procedures to develop the mind, i.e., to nourish and increase the light. One of the ways is to voidify the mind or stop its functions. Voidification of the minds is the control by the observing mind over the heart and the mind. The observation by the mind directs them into a void state, i.e., without any feeling or thought. At that moment, the four sacred substances still maintain their life's powers in the circuits of qi and blood. The way to stop their functions: the observing mind stops the circuits of yang and yin of one sacred substance or many. Stopping the circuits of yang and yin is to unite yang and yin of sacred substances in a unique life. When yang and yin combine, it is the life. When descendant transmutation is also ascendant transmutation, it is the life. In practice, depending on the level of the practitioner, he can stop one system or many. Systems of liquid and qi, systems of electric. Thus, the systems of liquid and qi also stop, and all four systems of liquid, qi, electric, and light. The systems of electric and light animate in the head, in the brain. Stopping these systems is to seize anything related to the three cosmic worlds and the three small worlds in the small cosmos. At the moment, all sacred substances moving inside and outside the body unite. The systems of liquid and qi scatter throughout the flesh body. Stopping these systems is to stop everything related to the atmosphere and the natural small world of the small cosmos. The two sacred substances of liquid and qi in the small and great cosmoses have the same substance, essence, character, and character's energy. All functions of the mind can evolve, but it suffices to say that the observing mind is the key to go into and out of all worlds, including life and death. The above-mentioned course of actions leads one's worldly life to its complete end, from which another life comes into existence. Similarly, it can direct the movement of qi and blood to become lighter and softer, or narrow down the space of movement of qi in order to last the life of qi longer and increase the life powers of the flesh body. If the observing mind turns completely towards the brain, the function of observation disappears. Consequently, the light gathers wholly in the brain. When the observing mind directs its function completely into the brain, the light stops functioning in the flesh body, qi body, and the electric body, i.e., all sensations, feelings, and virtues cease moving. At this moment, the light body appears and operates. Only those that are related to the light and the light body animate and operate. The light of the mind and the supermind becomes that of the super-supermind, and the heart becomes the character of cosmos in man. If all functions of the mind, namely observing, remembering, and thinking, cease operating, all lights spreading in the whole body gather in the brain and animate there. When the light animates and operates separately on its own, all other substances of electric, qi, and liquid cease operating. Conducting the light together in the brain is the most rapid way to return to the sources, to the origin of creation. Conducting the light together in the brain is also to direct the life together there. Thus, all life's powers of other sacred substances cease operating. All supernatural and super-supernatural phenomena and states appear only in the brain. When the functions of the highest system, i.e., that of the light, cease operating, subsequently, all functions of the other systems stop. The training to develop the mind is related to the fluctuation and animation of the sacred substances and also to the level of training and practice. 1. If sensations remain, qi, and 1. If sensations remain, liquid, and qi, electric, and light in latency, fluctuates without sensations, qi, electric, and light animate. 2. If feelings animate, qi, and electric and light in latency fluctuates. Without individual feelings, electric and light in latency animate, i.e., genuine feelings or feelings of mankind animate. 3. If thoughts influenced by the heart, i.e., by individual ego, remain, electric and light in latency animates. Without thoughts by individual ego, or if the thoughts are related only to the cause, the light animates. One of the established rules of the divine cause is that the descendant and ascendant transmutations of yang and yin are necessary for the development of the mind. All unifications of yang and yin in moving state creates descendant transmutation. All unifications of yang and yin in static state create ascendant transmutation. For example, mankind's reproduction is the unification of yang and yin in moving state. Life in moving state produces another life. The unification of this creation is called descendant transmutation. This is the marvelous descendant transmutation by mankind. It is marvelous because mankind can create, but not yet miraculous, because he cannot create his own life according to his will. Another example, the production of thoughts is both marvelous and miraculous. It is the unification in the catalyzing effect by yang light and yin light in the brain in moving state, and thoughts are created as a result. The speed of creating thoughts differs from person to person. That's partly why replies are not the same among different individuals. The higher the speed of the light, the higher its intensity. In other words, the faster the light is, the mightier it is. In the extremely static state, the light reaches its extreme might, thanks to which the supermind is easy to appear. Those who have a bright mind are easier to develop the supermind. Therefore, when one trains to develop his mind, he must nourish the light properly to avoid the waste of light. Such deeds as playing chess, playing cards, watching television, etc., excessively ruin the brightness of the heart of the mind, because the light is spent and reduced when he concentrates his mind on anything that induces psychological reactions. Energy and mind in training. The thing that commands any matter and deed is the most precious. In man's life, the mind, the supermind, and the supermind are the most precious, for they conduct the life powers of all kinds of body. Energy and mind can be changed into three forms and in three different small and great worlds. However, they both transmute from the same origin into three forms. This means that in the changes of the three forms, there is a unique life. The life powers of these three forms, in the case of energy, is the divine energy, which belongs to the divine mechanism, and in the case of the mind, is the divine supermind, which animates in the divine cause. Thus, the basis of man's life are energy and mind. They have the same denominators, the divine mechanism and the divine cause. Three forms of man's life. Man's life in the natural world is the combination of refined power and mind, on the basis of the divine mechanism and the divine cause. Man's life in the supernatural world is the combination of mystic power and the supermind, on the basis of divine mechanism and divine cause. And man's life in the supernatural world is the combination of cosmic energy and the supermind, on the basis of divine mechanism and divine cause. Which substance that energy transmutes to, the mind changes correspondingly to that new transmuted energy. And conversely, when the mind changes into another kind, energy also transmutes into the corresponding type. Energy and the mind are the life. If they are separated, the life is not complete. If the mind is separated from energy, the energy becomes worthless. Energy becomes useful only when the mind exists in it. Energy belongs to the divine mechanism. The mind belongs to the divine cause. In the same way, the divine mechanism can operate thanks to the divine cause. How can the energy in man be used? In man's body, there are 4 kinds of energy provided by the 4 sacred substances of the cosmos. These 4 kinds are categorized into external and internal, or outer and inner energies. The ones that use external energies are average people. The ones that use inner energy are supermen, saints, townsmen. Both external and internal energies transmute in 2 ways. The descendant and ascendant transmutations happens in either involuntary or voluntary ways. In animals, the descendants transmutation gets an involuntary nature, but in man, who has the intelligence mind, both transmutations can get a voluntary nature thanks to training, behaviors, or living style. Average people usually train themselves and develop external powers or outer powers, chi, blood, which strengthen muscles. At their greatest efforts, however, they can only become athletes. In other words, average people exercise the powers of their flesh body. Supermen, saints, and townsmen refine and develop inner powers, heart's power, mind's power, and energy. In other words, they train to develop their powers of chi, electric, and light. These powers and energy animate and move in the brain and the nervous system. People who live the sentimental, moral, and intellectual life and the spiritual life increase their inner powers and energy. Thus, they resemble partially the above-mentioned people, even though they do not directly refine inner powers. Training to develop inner powers is to develop supernatural powers in the body. They can diffuse beyond the atmosphere and intercommunicate with other creatures that are constituted of the same substances, electric and light. Training to develop the light of the mind is based on the observing mind. The observing mind exists everywhere in the body. In the functions of the 5 natural sense organs, the 3 super sense organs, and the sacred sense organ. When the observing mind turns inward, for instance in sleep, all 5 natural sense organs stop operating. When the observing mind watches the genuinely void heart, the 5 natural sense organs stop and the 3 super sense organs begin to operate. When the observing mind directs towards any sacred substance, i.e., the observing mind watches attentively the life of that sacred substance, the memories of worldly images or the recalls of the past end completely. Only the functions of the mind exist. By observing the life, one can be aware of its animation. Simultaneously, all life's powers become involuntary. All life's powers regain their normal conditions. Therefore, the flesh body that earlier acquired a disease will restore its health. The level of intelligence is identified through the accuracy of the observing mind. Therefore, the practitioner should practice how to acquire the accuracy of the observing mind in its function in order to discover the cause of creation, from which all matters, deeds, and phenomena have been engendered. The light of the observing mind has the capability to catalyze and transmute ascendantly the other substances when the latter are in static state. Any sacred substance that animates in the extremely static state reaches the absolute mightiest level of its intensity. The heart in peace. In this extremely static state of the heart, all inner powers are in their absolute mightiest intensity. Thus, they transmute ascendantly under the catalyzing effect of the cosmic light, i.e., the divine super-mind. When a sacred substance in its absolute mightiest intensity is catalyzed by a lighter substance, lighter in terms of substance's essence, but mightier in terms of character's energy, the former transmutes ascendantly. For example, when the genuinely void mind shines onto chi, i.e., the light catalyzes onto chi, chi transmutes ascendantly into electric. The observing mind spreads into 3 worlds. In the natural world, the use of the 5 natural sense organs. In the supernatural world, the super sense organs, and in the supernatural world, the sacred sense organ. Thus, it is thanks to the observing mind that one gets any immediate understanding, instant understanding, whole understanding of any cause, either logical cause, genuine cause, or Tao's cause, the original cause. In a rapture, before the occurrence of the immediate understanding of the original cause, only the last observation, that by the sacred sense organs, remains. This complete observation is the function of seeing by the eye of the super mind, with the whole range of vision of 360 degrees. In rapture, if the function of observation stops, one can never know the divine idea. Without the worldly ego in the observing mind, i.e., the real function of observation is not related to individual ego. Only the function and capability of observation exists. When the worldly relations end, the light of the observing mind can communicate with the substance, the character, and the character's energy of the other worlds. Any invisible thing that can animate marvelous are marvelous and miraculous. Any invisible things that can animate are marvelous and miraculous. Among them, there is the intelligence mind. The levels of cleverness, brightness, accuracy, speed of thinking, understanding, discernment, questioning, answering, solving problems, are factors of the intelligence mind. Thus, they reveal the level of intelligence of each individual. The level of clairvoyance, brightness, enlightenment. All clairvoyance of the mind spreads over the body, the heart, and the mind when one stays awake. But in sleep, the clairvoyance, brightness of the mind gathers in the brain. When it concentrates on the brain, all functions of the mind stop operating. Therefore, the clairvoyance is motionless. In rapture, the body, the heart, and the mind are completely motionless, including the mind's functions of observing, thinking, and remembering, except for one functional part of the mind, which is the intelligence, or the clairvoyance of the light. It is the life remaining and animating while all other life's powers cease operating. Thanks to its involuntary animation, the life, the light, grows mightier. This is the miracle of the mind in the laws of ascendant transmutation and evolution of man. It is caused by the physical natured animation of the extremely light sacred substance, the light. When the light spreads out from the other powers, namely the refined power, the superpower, and the mystic power of the body, the heart, and the mind, respectively, it becomes automatic and transmutes descendantly by itself. This is the cosmic energy, existing in latency in all creatures in the whole cosmos. Not only the light in the mind can animate and transmute on its own, but each of the other powers, refined power, superpower, and mystic power, can also animate by itself if it separates from the combined powers. In brief, when the substance, the light, the character, the clairvoyance, and the character's energy, cosmic energy, of the intelligence mind separate from the body, the heart, and the mind, they, or to be exact, it, because now substance equals to character, which equals to character's energy, transmutes automatically by itself in descendant way. The character's energy here is the cosmic energy, which contains itself and its character. This character is the miracle existing in the cosmic energy. At this level, man discovers the miracle of ever being ever existence of the intelligence mind, one of the miracles that the Creator makes in the everlasting functions of descendant and ascendant transmutations as an existential law of the cosmos. The intelligence mind is an invisible organ of the mind, which is now separated from its combination with the other functions of the mind. It can be said that rapture is a spiritual method of operating based on laws of physics. When the cosmic energy transmutes, miracles happen. When the intelligence mind operates, the other functions, namely observing, thinking, and remembering, which earlier gave rise to the intelligence mind, also progress as a result. The intelligence mind is the utmost level of ascendant transmutation and of man's evolution in the natural world. Also, it is the final stage to transmute into the two supernatural and super-supernatural small worlds to become the supermind and the super-supermind. Below is the ascendant transmutation from the natural small world to the supernatural small world and super-supernatural small world. From body to her heart and then to the mind. In its turn, 1. The observing mind leads to the remembering mind, and 2. The observing mind plus the remembering mind leads to the thinking mind, or the remembering mind leads to the thinking mind. 3. The thinking mind leads to the intelligence mind. And the process of ascendant transmutation from the body to the heart to the mind. In terms of substance, from blood and chi to electric, a supernatural small world is constituted in man's body, and then to the light, a supernatural small world is constituted in man's body. From each of the small worlds in man's body, man can communicate with the corresponding cosmic world. In other words, man can transmute his life to other cosmic worlds by living with the supernatural small world and the supernatural small world within his body. The ascendant transmutation may happen in two ways, involuntary and voluntary. The involuntary ascendant transmutation is caused by the death of the flesh body. In the disintegration of the flesh body, all acquired and evolved powers in man join their corresponding servancies in the cosmos. The voluntary ascendant transmutation is done by a practitioner who, understanding and knowing thoroughly all powers in himself, exercises and uses his intelligence mind to conduct those powers to join the cosmic energy while his flesh body is still alive. The accuracy. The level of accuracy of one's acts, gestures, movements, of one's thoughts, or anything related to the 5 natural sense organs depends on the clairvoyance of his intelligence mind. In other words, when the level of clairvoyance is maintained throughout one's acts, gestures, movements, thoughts, the intelligence mind makes no mistake, or the level of clairvoyance of the intelligence mind corresponds with the level of accuracy when the former is maintained throughout the duration of the action, gesture, movement, or thought. Thus, through one's daily activities, the level of a clairvoyance of the intelligence mind of each individual can be identified. The one who uses the clairvoyance of his intelligence mind in all of his activities lives with the supernatural character. He is able to communicate with supernatural phenomena and can receive the genuine fortunes and virtues existing in those activities. The speed of control. The ability to control or conduct high speed accurately reveals the level of clairvoyance of the intelligence mind. The speed of the activities related to the flesh body and of the 5 natural sense organs is slow, and that of feelings, the heart, is higher, and that of thoughts, the mind, is the highest. Therefore, to know one's level of clairvoyance resulting from the control of the development of one's feelings and thoughts, listen to his words, meanings, and ways of expression to see whether they are clear and explicit. This is the maintaining and concentration of the state of clairvoyance throughout a period in which there is an association of acts and successive changes from thinking to arranging ideas to expressing them in words. With high speed, the control must be very accurate. Therefore, the concentration and maintaining of the state of clairvoyance must last long. Without exercise, the control of speed cannot be accurate. Gradually, exercising or training will form habits, the effect of which constitutes a method. This procedure is used to separate the clairvoyance of the intelligence mind from the other life's powers, sensations, and/or feelings, which are frequent entanglements with the intelligence mind. Though routine training forms a habit or a method, the levels of effect will be different. For example, thinking about morals is lower in value in comparison with thinking about virtues or town scores. Then, thoughts are first expressed by inner sounds, i.e., words that are formulated in the mind but not yet expressed orally. The result of this procedure are that the thinker is first enlightened, then he passes on knowledge and insight to others. The level of clairvoyance in invisible organs results from the accuracy in the function of observation by the mind, such as the direct perception by the observing mind of the state of the heart, or the perfect observation of the heart and the mind. When one can see and control his own heart, his heart can be separated from his body, and thus his body at that moment animates involuntarily. Therefore, it becomes genuine body. Perceiving the state of his own heart, man knows thoroughly its sacred nature and miraculousness. The self-control, examination, and observation of the heart constitute an effective procedure to separate the heart from the body. Separating the heart from the body is an ascendant transmutation. Being capable of seeing his own mind, one can separate his mind from his body and his heart. Animating involuntarily, they become genuine body and genuine heart. Using the mind to watch the heart means to use the observing mind to perceive the heart. Only an objective and egoless observing mind can know thoroughly the heart. Knowing thoroughly one's heart is to make one's heart genuine and void right at that moment. This genuine state annuls everything of the visible world, because of which the heart can separate from the body. Perceiving one's own mind is to use the observing mind to watch other functions of the mind until the latter completely stop operating. The light of the pure mind no longer belongs to the natural and supernatural worlds. Only then is the mind able to detach from the body and the heart. Training the mind through the observing mind not only increases the energy of the mind, but also strengthens the powers of other sacred substances, thanks to the intervention by the light of the mind. Time plus light plus power, gathered powers, leads to the intensity of powers. 1. Time plus light, yang yin, lead to the increase in the intensity of light. The brain thus enlarges. The light body becomes mightier. 2. Time plus electric, yang, yin, leads to the increase in the intensity of mystic power, and thus the electric body becomes stronger. 3. Time plus clean qi, yang and yin, leads to the increase in the intensity of superpower, and thus qi body becomes powerful.